Attracting registrations and building your list are key parts of the process in getting ready for a webinar. Very, very key. Of course, the more registrations you have, the more people will attend. A good rule of thumb is that approximately 60% of all of the people who will register for a webinar will actually attend. So if you have a webinar facility, let's use a round number of 100. Let's say you have 100 seats. You can probably collect, 100 and close to 200 or maybe 200 registrations with the assurance that most of the people probably aren't going to be attending. Of course, your results may vary. They may be better than that. They may not be. But from what I hear across the board, 60% is pretty good as far as a number for people who actually stick. So how do you attract those registrations? Well, we're going to talk about different ways to attract them. Use as many of these as you possibly can, and then measure them. Measure your results so that you know which of those channels and which of these methods of attraction work best for you and for your audience. One of the best ways I think that anybody can collect registrations is with their list, with an email, with their email autoresponders. Email still is the single most effective way of attracting attendance for events, of doing all kinds of things. So, use your email, really, really work on that list. I can't stress that enough. The money is in the list. That's very, very true. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what business you're in, what industry, and it goes for real estate as much as for anything else. So, you've got to really, really concentrate on building that list. That's really, really a very, very important asset in your business. Another way of attracting registrations, of course, is with a landing page. And usually the landing page is used in conjunction with the email. You may, in certain circumstances, be able to register people directly with an email. That's a little more, a little bit more advanced. We'll be getting into that later. Most of the time, you'll be using that email list and driving people to a page where they're going to, sign up. Where enter your name and email here and get access to the webinar. We'll send you the details, and that's how it happens. So, having a landing page that will invite people to click is important. Have people put in their name. You don't just have a page. You want to have a page that has a compelling headline and that has a reason for somebody to join. It's just like we talked about when we talked about the headline for the webinar. Headlines, and that the large type that appears at the top of any kind of a page must be compelling. It must be something that invites a call to action. In this case, the call to action is registration in the webinar. So, have a call to action, have a landing page that has a title that has a benefit. Why are you inviting them there? You're not inviting them there to show them something. You're inviting them there to share something that is going to help change their lives. If you're talking about financing, you're not going to say, here are things you need to know about financing. You're going to say, no, here's how you get the best deal on for the lowest interest rates, to keep your costs down. Here's how you can, here's information about of financing that will let you bill the cost of repairs in your house. So it doesn't matter how much work the house needs. You can have the work done and include those costs. The messaging needs to be around benefits. That's my key point. You've got QR codes, those wacky little codes that you see everywhere. You can have a QR code that's designed to send somebody right to a landing page to sign up for a webinar. If you have a newsletter you're publishing to your list, then certainly this becomes an event that's worthy of your newsletter, and let your newsletter be a place where you can do one of two things. You can either send people back to the landing page or create a web form within the newsletter that will accomplish the sign up. And again, we'll be talking more about that in one of the other videos. Voicemail. Yeah, do you know you can actually create a recorded message of your voice and have it delivered into somebody's voicemail box on their cell phone? So you can create a voicemail message like, Hi, this is Fran Torsen. Hey, listen, I'm having a webinar next week. I think you're really going to find it important. I think you're going to love it. Watch for your email and sign up, sign up when you get that. I look forward to talking to you soon. Okay, so there was a message. That is a kind of a recording that I could make, that I could send to everybody in my list where I had a cell phone number. So if you are creating a list and you are collecting information about subscribers and you have an opportunity to collect their message, their telephone number, then that is the kind of message that you can send right to their voicemail that bypasses everything else. And that is very powerful. The results that people are having with that type of an outreach is absolutely incredible. I'm using it more and more myself, and I think it's great. In the old days, I used to use a technology called IVR, called Interactive Voice Response, and there are still technologies like that. Well, this is very, very similar to that, but now it's weaved into a program that I use that actually includes all of these different channels in one dashboard. So in the same channel, I can send email, I can send create a landing page and a QR code. I can send a voicemail. I can even send a video link in the email. So, video is another thing to do. Just a quick, hey, by the way, I'm having a webinar. I'm going to show you how you can build the cost of repairs into your mortgage, and it doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. If you want a new kitchen, a new bathroom, blah, blah, blah. And you can create a little video that would entice people to come to your webinar. You can advertise. Advertising is really a good thing to do. You can advertise. I think good places to advertise a real estate webinar include Facebook. It may be getting a little bit pricey, but you can also go to Google. You can do Google image ads are a pretty neat thing to do. It's a lot cheaper than Google AdWords. Go to the Google advertising department, look at image ads, and you can check that out. I think that the real estate portals are great places to advertise webinars. You can advertise at Trulia, you can advertise at Zillow, and it doesn't have to be about a single property. Your advertising can invite people to a webinar. It can invite people to an event or a service that you're doing. So it doesn't have to be about about a property. People who are consumers, looking for bargains, looking for properties, would be very, very interested, I think, in clicking on an ad about a webinar about how to buy foreclosure properties. You can have very, very targeted and specific advertising in those areas in your zip codes, and you may get people from outside of your area. Part of the spillover in that lead acquisition, or when people are clicking on those links and registering, is the fact that they may be looking for help in other areas, and you may have an opportunity to make a referral somewhere. So consider that. Social media is another great place to share your message. Twitter, Twitter's okay. Twitter has some utility in this. It's definitely not the best way to do that, but if you're using Twitter very, very wisely, if you're using hashtags, if you have engagement in your local market, and then you use tools like Twitvites and some other things that are invitational, and you're actually seriously networking with people in your market area, that can work for you. Facebook advertising is terrific. It's very, very focused, very, very geographic centric. I mean, you can pick an area, pick your market area, and do that very effectively. LinkedIn events is good too. LinkedIn events is a good place to have a webinar. And I'll tell you what, you want to engage in your groups over there and let them know about it. So if I was in Tucson here, let's say I was going to have an event, a webinar for Tucson consumers. Let's say I'm working with Tucson buyers, and I'm having an event about the foreclosure market here. What I would do is I would engage in groups, some of the networking groups. They're networking in Tucson, LinkedIn networking in Tucson. I would look for all kinds of meetup groups around Tucson, and that's where I would talk about it. That's where you have the influencers in social media in your area who will help you spread that type of news, and that's really terrific. So I would engage in groups. I would go to Trulia Voices. I would definitely go there. I would engage. I would write a note. I would write a blog post on Trulia blogs, and I would probably also search Trulia Voices and the questions. And I would see, who's talking about foreclosures. I would start to engage in some discussion threads in the questions and answers part. I would go to Realtown, and I'd post a blog post over there. I'd probably go over to Yahoo Real Estate and answer some questions over there and engage. And I'd go to Zillow Discussions. I'd do the same thing. It's Zillow that I was doing at Trulia. And then probably even post a blog over at Active Rain. Again, remember, Active Rain and Realtown are still primarily peer-to-peer platforms. So if you're posting an event for consumers, that probably isn't the best thing to do. If you are, excuse me, if you're looking for some engagement with your peers, then that could work. But other than that, I've got my doubts about consumers. If you are trying to reach a real estate audience, if you're a real estate broker, or a manager, and you're trying to recruit, that makes Active Rain and Realtown really, really both great places to be engaging and announcing a webinar. If recruiting is part of your strategy. And the last piece here is direct mail, and direct mail still works. Direct mail still works. If you are working with a targeted market, if you are working with a first-time homebuyer market, and you are having webinars relative to or germane to that market about financing, about foreclosures, about HUD homes, about anything that would interest people who are presently renting, you can do some very, very effective advertising using direct mail and inviting people with a postcard or a mailer, and that can be very, very fruitful.